Welcome back. I'm playing PC Builder Simulation, or Building Simulator, and this is going to be part 2 in the series. And then the first job is just going to be upgrading the storage to 1500 gigabytes of storage, which clearly you can see. As well, I'm going to be introducing a few new things into the video. I'm sure you're going to spot it right now. I would appreciate your feedback on what you guys think down in the comments below, as well as throughout this build. I'm not going to be speeding anything up or sitting there and trying to cut a whole lot of content out of it. I'm just going to leave this one bone dry. I would appreciate your guys' feedback on whether you want it cut up, sped up for the cabling and installing everything. But I'm going to be doing 5 jobs as I only played it for like 20 minutes. I mainly cut out sections where I was mainly on the computer for the shop for a long period of time, which took out a good chunk of the video, so it's not going to be too long, I hope. Um, Other than that, as I finish up this job, it's going to be the next one is I'm going to have to dust it, scan, and replace the cables, and I have to figure out which one that is because normally I'll go systematically between the easiest to the hardest job, which I'm pretty sure a lot of you are going to be doing. So as I take this on, it's going to be coming up. I just set it down, looking at the email to make sure that there wasn't any real hard specific tasks, such as new parts or anything like that. Just because now I have that rating system, I need to focus on it to get the 5-star rating, which every business strives to do. And as I'm doing it right now, I'm currently cleaning it, which again, this is always the worst part, is just cleaning it. Um, I don't know how to make it more lively other than the fact that, you know, it just needs to be done. And then, with that being said, I would like to know if you guys know any coding, because as is currently, I'm trying to teach myself C++, and I'm trying to make a kind of a mobile game, if you will, a shitty Steam game mixed with mobile game, and it's going to be very low tech, very low idea, but it's a good starting point in my opinion for the fact that, you know, since I've never actually done one, it would be a good learning tool. And we're going to be cabling up now. As this is coming up, then if you want to also see me play this live, I do stream live on Mixer, and then currently me and one other guy are planning a co-stream of either this or Hand Simulator Survival, and we're going to be going kind of head to head in a sense, and we're going to co-stream this on Mixer. I'll link my description in the description. I'll link it, as well as Discord if you want to hang out with me, chat when I'm at work or anything like that. As this is firing up and everything's downloading, I'm gonna be finishing the build because, you know, normally you wouldn't do this in real life. Normally you would sit there and wait till everything's all fired up and done. So now we just gotta wait for the system to boot back up again. We're gonna wipe it as it scans. We're gonna wipe. Then after this job, we're gonna have to get the specs for Sales Simulator for the build, which that will be ending up next because I didn't want to deal with the graphics card yet. And we're gonna collect our amount here. Make sure I got a 5-star. Read the review. Apparently, I wasn't reading very fast that day. Now we're gonna make sure that I hit the right thing or the right email, so that way I know exactly what I'm doing. And then we're gonna cable it up, see what it's currently needing. And this is always the worst part, is just cabling, just because it doesn't have that auto connect yet. And once I get a few more thousands of dollars in the game, I'll probably end up getting that, and then the faster screwing for installation to help speed it up, so that way I don't have to cut as much content out, so that way you guys can get a feel for it as if you were actually playing it. Versus the first video, it's just kind of bone dry and kind of boring, and I don't think anyone wants to watch someone struggling with one screw for 45 minutes on a case in a game. Not that that has happened to me or anything. Don't judge me. But now again, we have to wait for it to boot up, and then we're going to be sitting there and we're going to have to remember what game it was, because I apparently was suffering short term that day. We find it and then figure out we just need a different graphics card, and then this is going to cut randomly pretty quick, and then now my parts should be arriving. Again, I cut out most of the boring stuff because as I was doing that, I accepted a couple more jobs, which I'll explain as we get into it. So I do a no-no here. Normally you wouldn't ever rip the graphics card and everything out while it's still running. Normally you would sit there and have to actually turn it off, but in the game you can kind of get away with a lot more because of the fact that it's somewhat realistic, but it's the same thing as playing the mechanic simulator. And then I'm going to struggle to remember what I needed, just for the fact that I had ordered 3 graphics cards for a couple of different builds. And then I should be clicking it here pretty quick. And then now I just got to remember to put the PCI lock on because I always forget that one piece. I don't know why. And then we're going to make sure that it actually is correct and that I have the right part in, even though it clearly says it. But we also need to boot it up for the operating system to fire up to clear the job. And then we'll end up finishing that job after putting the part back on. And then we'll end up picking up the next job, which is going to be upgrading the graphics card. And we're going to have to dust it. Then we're going to also notify that the job is done, and we're going to collect the payment. Which, again, the dusting is always one of the first things I do. But as I'm doing this job, I'm going to make sure that there's nothing else like replacing the cables or anything. But it looks like we also need to clean a virus off of it also. So again, this is always going to be the most boring part to me, is just cleaning it out. Normally it doesn't take this long. I don't know why it takes this long in the game. I guess just to make it a filler, just so you would buy other stuff to make it better. But I've looked in the shop and there's nothing to help speed this up. This is going to be about as long as it takes every time. And then we need to unplug our cable here, pull out our graphics card, replace it. I got to remember what I ordered for it. And then I got a little nervous as I was installing it because it didn't say upgrade was complete. So I was sitting there and I was a little nervous. I was like, I wasn't sure if I ordered the right part. And then as soon as I plugged that in, it instantly notified me that I did upgrade it correctly. So I was pretty happy. And then we need to fire it up. And then as I fire it up, I'm gonna be getting ready to install the antivirus and wipe it. And I believe I also should be putting it together. I don't know why I waited for so long. Again, and then I also accidentally installed the wrong app. Because sometimes I don't pay attention, I guess. But I do end up installing the right one. And then now I gotta wait for it to restart, which this actually feels about the most realistic, is waiting for your computer to restart every time. Mainly after a game crashes or your screen freezes or something. But as it fires up, we'll end up getting the viruses off, and we'll end up completing the job, and then we'll get ready for the next one, which our next one's going to be upgrading our RAM. We're going to have to clean it, and we're going to also have to wipe viruses off of it. And we took on the email and said, hey, yeah, it's done. That way I don't have to worry about doing it later. And I'm feeling a sneeze come on. which again is going to be pretty much a rinse and repeat here. Just clean. I'm going to pretty much, I've already ordered all the parts needed, so it's just going to be a pretty simple slap the stick in and then plugging everything in, USB, download the software again, and it's going to be pretty much a rinse and repeat of the last job. Just the only difference is I'm not ripping out the graphics card or anything. And then I think I accidentally forget about wiping it until afterwards. And then normally I'll end up putting everything back together, because as soon as I get the virus scanner installed and everything's wiped, it will be pretty much a pretty simple build. Uh, as we complete this job, I'll end up putting it down, so collecting the money, and then I'll end up doing my last job for the night, which was upgrading a CPU. I needed to dust it and then replace cables, which this feels roughly way faster than what I would normally do, because I've only ever built one PC, and then I kind of struggled because everything was kind of fighting me. And then we collect it. And then now it's just going to be our CPU. Which I didn't realize I didn't accept a couple jobs, I guess. But after this job, like I said, I went to dinner, and it was my last job for the night, so it's going to be the upgrade CPU, dust, and replace, and in which I check once or twice just to make sure I have everything memorized, so that way I don't have to keep going back, but I end up always forgetting anyway. But on this job, I end up taking the back panel off also as I dust it, just so when I do have to replace the cables, it's way faster, because I'll just go to the power supply first and then turn it around and make sure I have everything. And I believe they wanted light gray cables, but personally I don't see the difference in the game between the light gray and the white, just because of the fact that they pretty much look very identical. So as well, this is going to be pretty boring because of the fact that you got to go to every single cable and then hit the cable and then make sure everything's unplugged. Which again, as I was recording the video, it was sitting there and I was talking, so that might be why I was kind of pausing at certain times. And then I realized that it never recorded. So you'll hear some game audio in the background, but I don't know how good you'll actually hear everything, because of everything is really quiet in the game, because I turned it down because it was obnoxiously loud with the fan in the main menu. And when you're playing the game, it's kind of still there, which I'm not a big fan of. And then one thing I'll say this though, the cable management in this game is like non-existent, and that just drives me nuts, because I'm a pretty big fan of having everything look nice and neat, mainly on a build. And then that's going to be our day. I end up collecting the thing, and then I'll accept a couple jobs next time on part 3, and make sure to look out for that.